Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Completionist. So this is going to be my final video for the summer, guys. So the last video I wanted to do before I travel back to Alberta for work is I recently got tagged by a really excellent YouTuber out there by the name of UltimateFloyd1's. And he tagged me on one of his most recent videos. Now the tag question that he posed to me is that since he knows that I'm mainly an RPG player, or a JRPG player to be specific, the tag question is what are 3 games that you play when you get sick and tired of playing RPGs or JRPGs? Now you would figure with a question like this, it would be an easy question, for a lot of gamers to answer, but surprisingly this question's a little difficult for me to answer, because for anyone who watches my channel for a long time, what is one of my golden rules? When I play a video game to 100% completion, I retire it for good, never to play it again. But despite sticking to that rule for the most part, there are still a few games that I still see myself going back to and playing, because I actually really enjoy these games a lot. And one of the things that all the 3 games that I'm going to mention have in common is that they're literally very easy pick up and play games. You can pretty much pick up and play them at any time. Unfortunately, one of the 3 games I'm going to mention is a game that I can only play at home, which unfortunately I don't get home very often. So what I wanted to do for this video, guys, is that I wanted to show you what those 3 games are, just kind of tell you why I always go back to these 3 games if I ever get sick and tired of playing JRPGs, and at the end, guys, just to give a little update about what I plan on doing with the channel. So the first game that I played that I see myself going back to every once in a while, it's a game I do have completed for the most part with regards to the first player mode. Single player mode. And but I am not specifically an online gamer. I don't like to play games online. I'm strictly a single player experience. I really don't want to interact with any gamers or anything along those lines. But this game actually got me hooked on the online aspect of it incredibly easily. And I've been quite addicted to it, and I think one of the reasons why I do like the online aspect of this game is that I don't find the online as malicious. Obviously, when you're playing online with other gamers, you always got to deal with a lot of trolls, a lot of people throwing insults. But the online function on this game, I find is very fair, and is very balanced, and they take the whole trash talking out of it, which actually makes the online experience that much more enjoyable. And the first game that I actually go back and play all the time is, strangely enough, it's a more recent title within the last couple of years, and that's Mario Kart 7 for the 3DS. I am not specifically a racing gamer at all. I don't really like to play racing games for the most part. Like the only racing games I've ever really enjoyed have probably been the Mario Kart series. But despite enjoying the Mario Kart series, I haven't played all the entries in the Mario Kart series. I played the original Super Mario Kart for the SNES and the one for the N64. But all the other ones that got released, for the GameCube, the Nintendo Wii, the Game Boy Advance, and the DS, I'd never played those before. But what got me excited, to actually pick up and buy Mario Kart 7 is that a lot of people on my gaming forum were actually playing it, and they were actually really enjoying it. And I noticed a lot of my friends playing it as well, the moment it was released. And I decided, well, no other games are coming out at the time, I just might as well buy it and give it a shot. And I think one of the big appealing things about that game is they actually had some of the old tracks from older Super Mario Kart games on it, and I think that was a nice bit of nostalgia, especially for a guy who has played Super Mario Kart for the SNES and the N64. And you know, the moment I played it, I just fell in love with it. You know, it had a really addictive hold on me. You know, even trying to complete the single player mode as much as I could. You know, I got pretty incredibly good at the game within a very short period of time, and then eventually, once I'd done everything on single player mode, you know, I eventually moved it to the online mode, and literally that was where the real fun began. And one of the things that I liked about the online mode is that, yeah, sure, you need a little bit of skill to be good at it, but in order to win races, it was just a matter of just getting the right item at the right time, or using the invincibility star at the right time, or using the thunderbolt at the right time, and you could win a race just as much as anybody else. But you would always have those players that were just sickly good at it, and they would just like literally play the game all the time. And I just noticed that I used to play the game for maybe an hour and a half before I went to bed every night for the longest time. And I always used to say to myself, I used to like keep playing, trying to find an excuse to always keep playing the game. And I used to say, well, I want to play so much in one night that I want to win at least 3 races straight, or I want to get in the top 4 of like 5 races straight, and then I'll put it down. And obviously it was really hard because sometimes the competition was a little harsh. But for the most part, the online mode wasn't malicious at all. Sometimes, you would run into that one asshole that would pick up an invincibility star and just keep running you over back and forth and back and forth. But those occasions were very few and far between, and it never really deterred me from playing the game. But if you're looking for a game with an excellent online experience that anybody can play and anybody can get really good at, Mario Kart 7 is definitely one of those games, and it's a game I still go back to. If I'm in the mood to play a little Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS from time to time, I just pick it up, do a couple online races, and that'll be it. For the second game, guys, it's a game I used to play a lot in the arcades back between 2004 and 2006. I don't play it as often as what I do anymore, just because I don't get an opportunity, to actually play it. I can either only play this game in my own house or at an arcade, and the arcades here in the city don't have this game anymore, and there's no arcade where I work, so the only opportunity I actually get to play this game is when I get home. It's kind of funny because when I was first made aware of this game, I never thought it would ever be something that I would ever get into, because I know this may sound strange, but I consider myself like a fairly shy guy. I'm not one to kind of like draw a crowd or anything along those lines. But this game kind of helped me break me out of my shell a little bit, and I was actually quite amazed, with how much I actually liked this game series, and how fast I actually got good at this game series, because I still wanted to play it. I didn't do very well, the first couple times I actually played this game, but I kept training myself and getting better at it, and then I got really good at it. Now, not as good as some of the other players who play this game, but I would consider myself an intermediate player, at best. I can hold my own, but against the really good players when it comes to this game, I can't touch a candle to these guys. And that game in question is actually Dance Dance Revolution. I know, strange. You know, I could go into a really long story, you know, of how I got into DDR, but you know, I'll save that story for another time, because it's actually a really interesting story of like how I got involved with Dance Dance Revolution for the longest time. Uh, but you know, I really love this game because more than anything, you know, I really love the music that Bimani made for this game, and actually all the music for the Bimani style games, you know, like 2DX and, you know, Guitar Freaks and Drum Mania and a few others. And you know, I just really love the music in that game, and surprisingly, they took the music and they put it to a really awesome game. And I don't think if I didn't think that if the music was good, I probably would have never played the game to begin with. Because you know, the strangest thing with me and music, like DDR really helped define the type of music I actually like, and it really helped me identify the style of music that I actually like, which is kind of obscure. You know, you would never expect that, you know, out of a video game. But you know, in the '80s, you know, I grew up, you know, liking light pop music or light rock music from a lot of artists in the 1980s, and in the 1990s, you know, I used to like, you know, every kind of dance music. Um, you know, Much Music used to put out these dance compilations, you know, Dance Mix '92 and Dance Mix '93, and all the way up to Dance Mix '96. And you know, I used to buy cassette tapes of a lot of these dance remixes. You know, you had Club Cuts, you had 300% dance hits, and Groove Station and stuff like that. So you know, I always grew up, you know, for the most part, always liking music that, you know, you could dance to. And even though I don't consider myself a very good dancer at all, you know, despite being half decent at DDR, but everybody knows, you know, there's a huge difference with regards to like dancing for real and, you know, dancing for a video game. But you know, I grew up loving dance music all my life, but I could never really identify with a subgenre of dance music, and I never really identified with a subgenre that I actually enjoyed the most until I actually started playing Dance Dance Revolution and Beat Mania. And it was through those games I got introduced to a subgenre of dance music called trance music. And it was through the trance music that I used to listen to from the Bimani series of games that made me realize that, you know, this is the type of dance music that I love the most. And strangely enough, you know, my favorite trance artist is an artist from Japan, and he makes some of my favorite trance music. Because usually, you know, when a lot of people think trance music, you know, they'll usually go to the really big names, you know, like Tiesto and Paul Van Dyk and Armin van Buuren and people like that. But the artist that actually got me into trance music and helped me identify with trance music that came from the Bimani music games was DJ Taka. And in the video, guys, I'll just put in the very bottom, I'll provide you my favorite DJ Taka trance song. And if you're looking for some really interesting trance music that you've never heard before, you should look up some of the music from DDR and Beat Mania, because you'll actually be pleasantly surprised at some of the trance music you'll actually come across. But every time, I come home, I always play a couple of games of DDR. I'll probably never be as good at it as what I was back almost 10 years ago, but I still see myself going back and actually playing the game and really enjoying the game. But I'll never be like completely godly at it. But I just play it for fun. And and for me, with regards to working out and exercise, I find myself really hard to keep myself motivated to do it unless it's fun. If it feels monotonous or mundane, I just don't have the motivation to keep doing it. But with regards to playing DDR, I always have fun with it, and as long as the fun factor is still there, I'm still going to do it. So that's it for the second game. For the third game, guys, It's literally my favorite NES game of all time. It's a timeless classic. It is my favorite game in this series. It is literally a game that every kid had growing up. It was that one classic game that every kid with a Nintendo needed to have. And that game is Super Mario Bros. 3. Now, one of the reasons why I see myself playing Super Mario Bros. 3 all the time is, you know, it's still a really enjoyable game, but one of the reasons why I consider it my favorite Super Mario Bros. Game out of all the ones that have ever been released is that for the most part, you know, it still has the potential to be a difficult game, and you know, I actually like that. Because one of the problems I've had with some of the Super Mario games, especially on the DS and the 3DS, is that I find them like really easy, you know, a little on the easy side. And you know, with regards to Super Mario Bros. 3, I'm not interested in doing, you know, speed runs or, you know, making the game more difficult than, you know, what it really needs to be. But it's simply one of those really great timeless classics that, you know, I think any kid from any generation can actually enjoy. You know, a lot of people, you know, prefer Super Mario World over Super Mario Bros. 3, but, you know, I'll always enjoy Super Mario Bros. 3. It's just really that good of a game, and you know, for like any of my gaming friends that, you know, that have kids, I would highly recommend, you know, you introduce them to that game, because it is really that enjoyable. And you know, I try to play it at least, you know, once a year, or you know, once every year and a half. And you know, sometimes I beat it and sometimes I don't, but you know, it's still a really enjoyable game, because you know, like, I think one of the best things about Super Mario Bros. 3 is that it's a game that really shows a good transitional difficulty. It really does. Like, obviously, you know, the first set of levels are really easy, but slowly and surely, you know, the difficulty still ramps up, and the difficulty really starts to take a huge leap by the time you reach Sky World. And because Grass World and Desert World are relatively easy, but then you get into Sea World, or Water World, or whatever you want to call it, and then you have to deal with those levels with the big giant fish that eat you. And then, you know, that was a little difficult, and you know, as you make your way, you know, to Ice World and Pipe World, you know, the levels slowly get more difficult, and I actually find it, you know, a really enjoyable game. And the fact that it is my favorite NES game of all time, and I think it's the best Mario game out there. It's always going to remain a very important part of my gaming history, and it's one of the few games that I'll actually see myself go back and play every once in a while, because as I said before, for the most part, the majority of the games that I do play and that I do complete to 100%, I do retire for good. But Super Mario Bros. 3 is one of those games that I'll always go back to, because I have a lot of fond memories of that game, and it's always best to look fondly at the games that meant a lot to you, especially as a child. So anyway, that is my answers. Sorry, those are my answers for Ultimate Floyd's questions that he tagged me with. So, as per the routine, now I have to tag 3 people with regards to this question, and the question is that what are 3 games that you go back and play when you get sick and tired of playing RPGs? And the 3 channels I'm going to shout out are channels, you know, I'd like to see people make a little more content, but I understand, you know, for the most part, we're all adults, we all have responsibilities. Sometimes free time can be a luxury that a lot of us can't really afford these days. So the 3 channels that I'm going to shout out are Fem Trooper. She makes really excellent content, and you know, I wish I could see more content from her more often. And like I said, she's an excellent channel. Some Canadian boys, the Cartridge brothers. They make some really excellent content. You know, they address these questions that either fans ask them or they ask themselves, and they try to do it within a 10-minute time frame, and they really have some excellent chemistry between each other. And the next YouTuber I'm going to tag is a guy. I'm glad that he's back on YouTube. You know, usually, you know, my rule when it comes to YouTube channels is that, you know, if you don't make content within a 1-year period, then I'll just unsubscribe and kind of make room to watch another gaming channel. But I'm really glad this guy came back, because I understand, you know, for a while there, you know, he had to move and he had other responsibilities to look after. But, you know, he makes some really good content. So I'm going to tag him as well. And that channel is Metroid's Primed. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much my last video for the summer season. You know, I really wish, you know, I could have made more videos. You know, I really wanted to get a how to complete video done. But I was in the middle of playing Breath of Fire 3. I was making good progress with it, but then I got to a point in the game where the game just froze, and I couldn't get past it. I put it in my PS2, it didn't work. I put it in my PS3, it didn't work. Not much I can do about it. So it looks like I'm either going to have to get the game buffed, or I'm going to have to probably buy another copy of Breath of Fire 3. But from what I've played of it so far, you know, I'm really enjoying it, but it is a bit grindy. I can't tell you how many hours I've wasted just trying to examine enemy skills just to make sure I get them all. And I really wanted to get an episode of a completionist point of view, but unfortunately, you know, the 3 weeks I was home over the summer, things have just been incredibly busy. But at least when I leave to go back to work, I leave knowing that all the main chores and things that I needed to do with the house over the summer, they're all completed, they're all done. So so I'm going to be gone again now until Christmas, guys. So anyway, please be patient. You know, I wish I could release more content, but as you're all aware, you know, it's just the nature of my work, and there's not really much I can do about it. You know, as a provider, I just gotta work as hard as I can and try to keep the bills paid, and I know a lot of you can relate to that. So anyway, guys, that takes care of another episode of The Completionist. So as always, take care, and I wish you nothing but the best, and I'll see you in December. Later.